Hello everyone, it's John back again, and tonight I've got my brother Lee with me. It's the second time on the channel. His first time was a drunken night, boxing night, and yours, wasn't it, Lee? When it just come to me we should do a video. I think you got the taste for it because you did ask me the other day if I'd allow you on the channel to do another one. And listen, you're more than welcome on the channel anytime. Top Blue like myself. So thanks very much for asking to come on. It's a privilege to have you on.
Thanks for having me on, you and Michael. I enjoyed the first time I done it. All right, we had a bit of an audience in the room and that, but I did like it. But my dad was on that one, wasn't he? He chats a bit of shit.
Got the taste for it. Right, anyway, so today the EFL has announced the end of League Two, and also not long after that, the Belgium League has also officially ended. So the team that was at the top have won it. Well, apparently there's not going to be any relegation. So the Bundesliga returns this week. Do you think all football associations all need to be doing the same thing? You know, because you've got, I think it was the Belarus League, they never ever stopped. You've got the Chinese League, they're starting again. You've got the EFL have cancelled, the Belgium League's cancelled. Bundesliga is back. Do you think the Premier League should be looking at bringing the players back into training, starting the league next month? Or do you think we all need to sing from the same hymn sheet and cancel or all carry on?
Personally, when Belarus, they didn't stop whatsoever. Now, there was murder over there why it didn't. I actually watched a couple of games myself on the box. And it's crap, but it was something to do. But personally, I think because the countries have had different death rates, different ratios and all the rest of it, I think it is what they decide as a country, as a government. I think what's going to happen over here, personally, I think there's too many players scared to play. I think they're getting made to play because of the money side. And I think if there wasn't as much money involved as what's involved in the Premier League now, I don't even think we'd be contemplating starting football back up. It says it all to me when they're not going to start letting crowds in, possibly until 2021. To me, that means football should stop until then. But because of the money side, they're starting it.
See, football's nothing without crowds, and I think Richarlison said something along the same lines on Twitter yesterday, I think it was. Listen, for me, it is fueled by money. The Premier League's fueled by money, and it makes me think, if this outbreak would have happened before Sky got its claws into the Premier League, would they be so adamant that the league has to start again? Because it's money fueled, and you've got to remember, Lee, the players who are going into training, you've got young kids at home, they've got families, you don't know what they're catching, they've been told they can't spit. Every time one of them touches the ball, they've got to clean the ball. The goalposts have got to be. That to me is not football. Now it's all money orientated. Do you think it's safe for the players, the managers, the physios, the club doctors? You know, what happens if a player goes down injured in training, the doctor, the physio's got to see to him? You know, what happens there? That player could be a carrier, but not show symptoms.
Well, I think we're going to learn a lot by watching German football this weekend as to how it works, what's going to happen. I mean, you hear loads of rumours. I was watching it on Sky before about on the dugouts, they've got to leave a seat. Now, to me, that they're saying about the 2 metre rule, that's not 2 metres for a start. Now, the other way to look at that as well is what I believe will happen as well. Troy Deeney hit the nail on the head. He said something the other day, I only caught the back end of the story, but he said something along the lines of, you've got a choice if you want to go to the supermarket. It looks as though, the way he said that, it looks like they haven't got a choice if they can play football. Even though they've got families, I don't think I'd be comfortable. But what I believe will happen is they might get 2 weeks into playing, 10 days into playing. And if we get a second spike throughout England, throughout the UK, and players start picking it up, how can you not stop it? Because squads are weakened, teams are weakened, and then players will start going down with it and all the rest of it. They've got to stop it because teams will get relegated because 5-star players out of each team might be fit. So it might get so far. And then I think it'll come to a point where even if they don't test positive this many, they might be trying to get it back involved, sort a bit more out. The shite might win the league and all the rest of it. And then they'll go, you know what, let's just stop it there, put them on the breaks or whatever, and then come back.
See what you've just said there about the shite winning the league, it makes me wonder, and listen, we've got Reds who watch the channel and blah, 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 and this isn't being bitter, this isn't being blinkered. For me, the league wouldn't be getting pushed so much to carry on and to finish if it wasn't Liverpool top of the league, because there's been that much media hype around the first time in 30 years that they can win the league. If this was a Leicester who've won more Premier Leagues than Liverpool, for example, if this was a Leicester at the top of the league, or even Everton, would it be getting pushed as much, in your opinion, to be finished?
I don't think so. And the reason I say that is because I don't know exactly who it was the other day. I think it was something to do with a Man City player. He basically said if that was then in Liverpool's position, he wouldn't look to start the league again. I don't even know who the player was, but he did say them words. And all right, you know what, it is what it is. And you know what? If we can watch 3-4 matches a day and we're all going to watch it on telly on lockdown, it's a bonus to us because we know they're going to win the league. But what's unfair is, like I said just then, if players start coming down with this virus and testing positive, Everton, for instance, I'll take Aston Villa, Jack Grealish comes down with it, and their next best player, if their 2 or 3 best players come down with it, they'll get relegated. I don't think that's fair.
And you've also got Aston Villa on the flip side. They've got a game in hand. They win that game in hand. I think it takes them out the relegation zone. But as you say, if their main players get hit after they win that game in hand, it was pointless winning the game in hand because we all know your main players win games for you. They're the game changers. They're the match winners. What I was going to say, going back to what you said before about the players turning up and they don't want to be there, the way the government have been talking about kids going to school and people going to work, if you don't feel safe, you need to have a word with your employer and say, or the kids with the parents and the teachers, and the parents have to have a word with the head teachers to say, look, are my kids going to be safe in that school? Footballers won't be able to make that decision, I don't think, because they're going to be pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed because it'll be in their contract. It'll be in their contract. So basically, it'll boil down to their refusing to work. That's what it'll boil down to, in my opinion. It doesn't sit right with me for the simple fact Spain, the Spanish players, the La Liga, the players went back in La Liga 2 weeks ago to train. Within 2 days of the players going back to train, 3 players, they didn't name the clubs, but I'm assuming it was Real Madrid and Barcelona, out of 2 top teams got tested positive for the virus. Now, they got found out quite quick that they had that virus. If they wouldn't have done, because the testing isn't as quick in this country as it is abroad, I think it's wrong. The Premier League foot players are going to get tested at least 2 or 3 times a week, but we can't get our NHS workers and our healthcare assistants tested, but Premier League players can. And it goes back to what I was saying before. If this wasn't Liverpool, the league would have been null and void by now.
Yeah. I was going to pick up on exactly what you've just said there about they're getting tested so many times a week. All people involved on match days will have to be tested. I think that 322 people on each match have got to be involved. If they're getting tested twice a week, so do your maths. That's not right. When my mate, whatever, works in the hospital, he can't get tested like that.
Yeah, it's wrong. Right, so we talked enough about the COVID virus and, you know, what's going to happen. But it's funny because Michael said something to me the other day and he said he had a thought that, because I heard something a couple of weeks ago that it could be another 2 years before crowds are let in to big events. So you're looking at concerts, you're looking at nightclubs, you're looking at football games. Michael pointed out something to me 2 days ago and said, Everton could never play at Goodison again.
Because we'd be gone.
Because of Bramley-Moore. Now, that would break my heart, just like you, just like me dad, for example, who's been going obviously a lot longer than us. Can you imagine what it would be like for Everton's last game in Goodison, who should have beat Man United?
And I will say on that as well, that performance against Man United, going back to that, getting away from the side of like, going back into ground zone, can we go back there? When that second half against Man United, remember right, Everton had a style of play where it was like we were pushing Man U back for the last half an hour, 35 minutes. We did it, and they were in great form at the time, by the way. And that was the first time I actually thought, you know what, Ancelotti has got a system that works. He's getting the best out of a lot of shite. But when he gets because I think Ancelotti works with the fact that you're the left winger, you're the right winger. That's your job. Now he's telling mediocre. We've got some good players. He'll get the best out of them. But I think he goes right. You're the right back. When we're attacking, I want you over halfway, and we'll have two centre backs. His style of play at Napoli was absolutely fantastic, and I just think that was the game against Man United where I thought we've got a style of play here. And I think it was my wife's father-in-law. He came down and he went, you know what, Lee? It's the first time I've watched Everton for about 2 years where you go, you know what? There's something about this. It's all Ancelotti.
And I just say it was your father-in-law because she's your wife. Not your wife's father-in-law. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think what Ancelotti's done, I've said this on previous videos with Michael, Ancelotti is getting his ideas and his points across to mediocre players. Can you imagine if he had the team he wants and the players he wants brought in and he got his system and his ideas across to them, the sort of position Everton would be in?
Yeah, I believe, like, if this starts up again in 3 weeks' time, a month's time, whatever it's going to start up, and we're pushing for that European place. Whether we get it, I don't know. Whether we've got the quality to nick one, I don't know. If he would have come in 6 weeks earlier, I know Ferguson done superb for us, but even still, if he would have come in, if Ferguson would have got them results against teams which weren't as good as what he played in December, by the way, imagine 5-6 games Ancelotti was there before he was. I think it'd be a nap that we would get European football. Will we get it now? I don't know, but I think with the players we might be linked with and all the rest of it, they're not all going to come. Financial fair play will stop us. Everton, like most Blues, know, stink of money. But it's spending that money. Man City done it and got away with it because they could. Top clubs got away with it. We're restricted. Now, if we had an open bank book and we could go out and do that, I think we'd throw stupid money at players.
Tell you what, Lee, you're good at this because you've actually just rode right in to the next topic that I wanted to talk about there by mentioning that bit at the end about transfers. So when the transfer does open, whenever that'll be, you know, the seasons are ended, we haven't heard nothing about the transfer window. I'll talk about the players who you don't think have got a future at the club, from back to front, through the squad. Who do you think we'll be looking to get rid of, and who would you like to see us get rid of?
Personally, I think most Blues who watch this channel, any channels like that, I think most Blues know our deadwood. I think you're scared to we're going to go. It's a waste of time you mentioned Nias, Stekelenburg, players like that. Players like that, they're gone. They'll never have a future under any manager. If Marco Silva was still anyone, they wouldn't have it.
What I'll do with you then, okay, because obviously we want a better squad. And the players who were getting starts every week, if we had a better quality in the squad, they probably wouldn't get a start a game. So we'll start back to front. So we'll go Pickford, keep or sell.
The right money comes in for him. I'd sell. But I just think if we get our money back on him and a bit more, say we got 40 million, 38, 40 million, somewhere that mark. There's better keepers out there. You can name keepers now. The one who's on loan from Man United, Sheffield. Man U, De Gea is going to be around for the next so many years. If Sheffield can't afford him, go and throw 20 million at him out of the pick from money. And I tell you what, he's the next England number one.
Nick Pope's one for me. I think we need a right back. Unsure with Jonjoe Kenny. I said this again on a previous video. Not sure whether the people at Everton fancy Jonjoe Kenny. I know he's done well on loan, but I think it's an easier league where he is at Schalke. You got Coleman, who's probably, in my opinion, not been the same player since the injury. And everyone knows my thoughts on Tadibi, but my shouts, actually, as Michael says, made me Twitter famous. So I think we need a right back.
Yeah, we definitely need a right back. Coleman's come to the end of the season. Coleman's been superb. Jonjoe Kenny, every time I've seen him, he's out of position. He's like Sidibe, out of position. Now, I don't know. I mean, if it meant Kevin Coleman for one more season to strengthen elsewhere sort of thing, we'll link with that one out of Argentina. They reckon he's the best right back in Argentina. He's plays for River Plate. £7 million. 7 million today's market. You might get him for 6 now. But take him and sell Jonjoe Kenny. If Everton won 15 million for Jonjoe Kenny, you ain't going to get that. Take 10 million.
Yeah. I said this the other week, I got sent a message, and not long after it, I sent you it, and then not long after it, it broke. 3 clubs in for Michael Keane, Tottenham, Burnley and Sheffield United. I said Tottenham's a funny one for me. Burnley probably struggle money-wise now after what's happened with the football financially. Sheffield United, for me, would be a good move for Michael Keane, keep or sell.
I'd sell him. If you'd have asked me that question 18 months ago, I'd say, you know what? I think he was on the verge of the England team. He was just about getting into the team. Then he'd be dropped. He was on that bit. Don't know what's happened to Michael Keane. I think something is not right with it. I think it's his personal life, though. I think there's something not right there where it's rubbing off on his game. I think if he gets to move to someone like back to Burnley even, I think he'll shine again.
Get us going again before the Euros and stuff. Mark, Yerry Mina?
Personally, I'd keep him. I like Yerry Mina, and I think every time I've watched him this year, the season has cut short this season so far, and I think it stopped him. I think every time I watched him this year, he was getting better. Now, whether that was because managers were coming in and trusting him and believing in him, whereas last year he was in and out with injuries and all the rest of it. But with him and Holgate at the minute, they're the fancy too. The rumour is the Lille centre-back, Mangalos or whatever his name is, that's gone quiet, but that's what Everton do. You know what I mean? So if it means bringing him in, who'd you drop? Because that Mangala, I've only watched clips of him and I've gone through stats, if you like. Look, when we're linked with a player, I like to look at him. And he looks like, I reckon he's one for the few. I reckon he's going to be world-class, that player. But who'd you drop for him?
So we go through these quick now because there's still a bit to talk about. Buy or sell Holgate?
Yeah, keep him.
All day. Bainesy?
It's a no-brainer. Give him a 1-year deal because the market the way it is, we've got other areas to strengthen. He ain't going to dislodge Luca Dean, but the times he's played this year, I think he's been absolutely fantastic.
So I've seen something the other day, report we may have to replace Luca Dean because Man City are in for him, apparently.
And I've seen 2 clubs from France, PSG and Nice.
Yeah. Theo?
Don't like him. Think he's a waste of space. Think he cares more about his haircut.
Tom Davis?
Oh, love to shave his head off and send him off. Crap.
Delph is one that I thought he would have brought more to the team than what he has.
You get him. I know he's 30, 31. When you're picking him up for 7, 9 mil, whatever it was, somewhere in that bracket. Just don't think his attitude's right.
Right. Sell or keep Schneiderlin? Go.
Sell.
Stiggerson?
I think he's a problem. And the reason he's a problem, quickly to sum that up, is he's had that position at Everton for the last 2-3 seasons, blah, blah, blah. He was good. This season's been shocking. We've got players there given the chance to play in that playmaker role. I don't know why Bernard's always on the wing. To me, he ain't a winger. give him a go there while we can. Gomez, fair enough, he's had an injury, blah, blah, blah. He's not that type of player. But even Iwobi, he put Iwobi out wide. But every time I've seen Bernard and Iwobi this year put in that middle, they can pick a pass. Sigurdsson, to me, is holding the team back.
I can't remember the game that Bernard played well. He got put in the middle, and he had an absolute worldie. I can't remember who it was against. I love Bernard. He reminds me of Fernandes Limpard. I've said that before. Not going to mention the players who obviously are the obvious ones. Richarlison staying, Calvert-Lewin staying. I'm gonna go to the main one now. Obviously, you mentioned the asses going. What would you do with Moise Kean?
I think he's a kid, and looking at where he was in Italy, he is a bit of trouble. I think he's a bit cocky, you know what I mean? But I think we'd regret selling him. And the reason we would is because if we sell him, we've got to go and buy a striker. If we buy a striker and they come in and they play back up to Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, what I'm saying is the other option is if Moise Kean gets his head down and is that player with the potential that we all know he's got, if you put him and Calvert-Lewin, because Calvert-Lewin has been superb this season, if you put them two up top, age 19 and 21, whatever they are, and then drop Richarlison out of that wing and get a right winger, I've seen Everton Soares linked, no-brainer for me. If you can pick him up for less than 50, he'll score goals. You've got Richarlison playing well, Everton Soares, Calvert-Lewin, and Moise Kean getting his head together. There's goals in the team.
And I'll add to this now. I'm going to go on to the... I got sent a message last night about Adrien Rabiot. Now, there's been rumours flying around all week that I think it's his mum, who's his agent, being in talks with Everton. Juventus midfielder, he's 25. Now, from what I've heard, he wants to come to Everton. Now, for me, he's 25, as I say. He's young. We could build a team around him. He's the marquee signing. Remember when Man City got all the money?
Yeah.
And they made that marquee signing, Robinho, I think it was, that transfer day that they got all that money. And since, I forgot our owner's name, Mashiri's come in, we've wanted that marquee signing and we haven't really got one. I think for me, Adrien Rabiot will be a marquee signing. How do you think he'd do in the Premier League?
To me, I think he'd be world class. I think he's class anyway. PSG, Juventus, you don't play at them clubs and be shocking. I'm going to correct you like you corrected me before. Now, he's actually 24. But he's
not according to my thoughts, by the way. But go on.
He's thinking, he looks like he could be trouble. But I know since he's been back going to Juventus here and there's been a bit of trouble in Turin and all the rest of it with him, is that because I believe Ancelotti spoke to him as well? That's what I heard off a good source. But I'm not going to tell you my sources. What?
HP.
Daddy. No, but if you put someone like that in the middle who can pick a pass, energetic, skillful, good on the ball, and don't forget, the one player who we haven't seen anything of to come back in along someone like Rabiot, the other fellow from Rodriguez, put Gabamiam in the middle with them.
Yeah, I mean, all summer we've been linked with big names. I've got a list of a few here. So we've been linked with Allen, Lozano, Rodriguez, and going back to Gabriel, what you said before, the centre half. Them sort of names that we're linked with, you've got to be happy with players who are linked with the European calibre that them players have got. It's good for Everton to be linked with players like that, because if you look back before we had the money and before we had a top class manager, we weren't linked with players like that.
You know what the thing is there, though? No, like for the last 2-3 seasons, so many windows and all the rest of it, we were signing players for 30 million minimum. And you know what? We were stupid to do it. If we would have had a manager like Carlo Ancelotti 2 or 3 seasons ago, we'd have been attracting them type of players then. I think now that we've got him, we will attract big names. It's just, as I say, what always sticks in my head, and I know every Everton fan will go, we'll get round it, that financial fair play, we'll get fucked.
I'm one of them Everton fans who'll go, we'll get round it, because I think it'll come down to sponsorship deals now. On the Park End, you've got Megaphone. We've seen all things all around the pitch. Listen, I think we all know as Blues that Uncle Usmanov is in the background with money. I think Everton will find a way around it with kit sponsors, with new ground naming rights, stuff like that. Not being funny, it might even come to the point where Usmanov will sponsor a corner flag for 50 million just to get us through that financial fair play. And personally, I think there'll be a bit of an easing on financial fair play when all this blows over. Because I think I said to you a couple of weeks ago, and I said to Michael, privately, not on the videos, I think the days are gone of big transfer fees now, because clubs now, even the clubs with loads and loads of money, the likes of your Man Cities, your Man United, one of the richest clubs in the world, Barcelona, Real Madrid. Barcelona have had to ask for someone for naming rights for the stadium just to get through the coronavirus, to fund things, So clubs are scared to spend money at the minute because they don't know what's going to happen. We could all get lifted out of it. They could go and splash loads of money. A second peak comes along, or it hits us next year, and we're back to square one. So I think the days of big transfer fees are gone. Players who normally will cost 60, 70 million quid are now going to be 35, 40 million.
Yeah, I understand that might benefit us 6 months down, a year down the line. But we've got to sort of balance the books of it now. Say we were going to get 9 million for Balassi, 7 million for Balassi. That becomes 3 million, what's being quoted at the minute. So what I'm saying is where we've got to get money back as well. The only way to do that is sponsorship, because we ain't going to get it back on these players. Michael Keane, if he was going a year ago, if he leaves Everton and we get 25 million back after 30 we pay for him, fair enough. You're not going to get 10 to 12 million now. So now we've got to get more money somehow.
Yeah, I think Everton need to get rid of a lot of the deadwoods and players who aren't playing every week. Get them off the wage bill. Try and balance the books before we really give it a good push, because a lot of clubs are going to also lose money from Sky. Every club, I think it's every club gets £127 million off Sky. That's a lot of money. Now, for your clubs, and this is no disrespect to the clubs I'm going to name, the likes of your Burnleys and your Brightons, they don't really have rich owners who, if you talk about rich owners, you've got City, you've got Everton, we have, Liverpool, Man United, they haven't got it. So if they rely on the Sky money, they rely on that £127 million that they get. If they're not getting that, they're going to have to sell their best players, which inadvertently then makes them struggle as a team, which then threatens them with relegation.
Yeah, it does, and it is unfair that way. That's why I say, getting back to Everton and the clubs all you just mentioned there, to support them now, they'll know things that's going on in the background, all the rest of it. But I think everyone knows in the Premier League that Everton have got money. And the long-term thing, what they've come in and set out to do, all right, we throw money away. It's wasted money. I don't think Moshiri cares. I think if he had to spend it all again to bring success to Everton, I think he would. And I think now, with having this top-class manager and Marcel Brands and players coming to the end of them contracts, Marcel Brands working with Carlo Ancelotti, the sponsorships coming in, because Everton have always talked lately in the last year about behind the scenes and money and basically they've talked about the business side, not about players and all that. They've talked about financially growing Everton. And I think that's what the Russian, I don't know his name, whatever's on the board. He's always talked about getting Everton worldwide, blah, blah. And that they know what the long-term aim, now what's going to happen in the next 5 years or whatever, that's where Everton are good and they know what they've got to do. This is a setback with what's going on now. But there might be 80-90% of the clubs in England feel it. I really don't think Everton are going to feel it because we've got that much money in the owner.
Yeah, and I think it also, just to end the conversation, what you bring it on there too is like it hasn't really affected Everton. I think it's been great what Everton have done in the community as well. You know, they've carried on paying the staff. They haven't been furloughed. They're working from home. And you've got clubs who have moved into new stadiums. Tottenham tried to furlough some of their staff. It was mentioned Liverpool were going to until the media got onto it and they got a lot of stick for it. Then they reversed that decision. Everton have never once come out and said they were thinking about furloughing anyone who works within the four walls of Goodison Park or Finch Farm. And I think that comes from the money that's within the club and the people who are running the club.
Yeah. Well, that's where I think everyone's got to give. I know it's not Bill Kenwright's money. Bill Kenwright's got money now. He bought into it, blah, blah, blah. And people slag Bill Kenwright. Bill Kenwright had a situation where he had no money. We were struggling. David Moyes said it a few times. We had players lined up. We couldn't afford 5 million. We couldn't do this. We couldn't do that. But Bill Kenwright, as much as he got slagged with the Arteta money and all the rest of it, Bill Kenwright got a lot of shit. But now, looking back, and players who leave, your Tim Howard, your Tim Cahill's, your Mikel Arteta's, Duncan Ferguson's, they always thank Bill Kenwright. And I think he said all along, I'm going to wait for the right owner. We were linked with all kinds of talks. And when he said to them, show us your money, he went quiet. He could have sold off to one of them and left us in the shit, and we would be in the shit now. But I think he hit the nail on. He got it spot on, Bill Kenwright.
If you look at some of the players around the same time or just after or just before, some of the clubs who were linked with investment and getting taken over, Liverpool got took over by Hicks and Gillette. Look what happened there. You had Aston Villa with Randy Lerner. You had Newcastle with Mike Ashley. So these clubs who all thought they had a sugar daddy, it all fell on deaf ears. Give Bill Kenwright his due. I've argued with a couple of mates that John and Jamie, you know they are, because they always used to have a go at Bill Kenwright to me. And I always said, look, he could have sold us up the road to anyone, but he waited, as you said, for the right investment. In my opinion, I think he's got it right with Moshiri. Moshiri's got rich mates, and it looks like they're coming on board now.
Yeah, and that's why, that's exactly what I said a couple of minutes ago. The long-term project that Everton doesn't. To me, it started. But I think now, with the new stadium on the horizon, we've got the backing of the council and all the rest of it. I think now it's a matter of time till the spade goes in the ground. They were talking about the summer. There might be a little setback, but I can't see there being any setbacks. I can see Everton, the stadium, the spade will go in the ground. We'll start getting better quality players in. And don't forget, getting back to what we said before, the squad of players we've got now, and we went through blah, 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 but there is players there who, when better quality players come in, will be better players for Everton. Yeah. The 11 that start each week, Iwobi, people slag Iwobi off. I know people go on about him and all that. Stats-wise, if you look at him in certain aspects of his game, Ancelotti will know that. Ancelotti will get the best out of him until we can replace him. Might happen in this window, might happen in the next window, because we have to find a right winger, we have to find a right back, we have to find a centre-back, we have to find possibly 2 centre midfielders. That's where that money's got to be invested now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was going to say to you, which positions did you want us to fill, and where do you think we need to replace players? But I think you've just hit the nail on the head there. Right, have you got anything else to say? Because I've had you for 35 minutes now. Anything else to finish?
No. I just want to thank yourself and Michael for having me on. First time was great. This time's been great. I was a little bit nervous, I'm not going to lie, about coming on, but this is not water. This is vodka. I remember that. Water. I can't thank you enough. I watch all the videos you put on.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. You can come in anytime. You know that. Anyway, everyone, thanks very much for watching. And I just did mention, we have got massive plans for the channel. Michael's mentioned rebranding. I've mentioned rebranding. Want to get to the magic 5,000 before we roll it out. We're not far away now. Michael's done a video last night with the Blue Van Man. Great watch. We had Bawley on, Michael Ball. We've got another player on. I'm not going to mention names, but what I will say is he's won the European Cup Winners' Cup. He's won 2 league titles. He's won FA Cups with Everton. I'm not going to give it away anymore, but he's coming on next week. We're just pushing for this 5,000 so we can rebrand. Won't just be about Everton. It's going to be about other sports. I'm going to concentrate on Formula One. Anyone else wants to put any other thing you want to talk us about, topics, anything, we're going to be rolling it out. We're going to make this channel massive for me and Michael. Having my brother on, having ex-players on. Michael does a great job. Listen, he's the main man on this channel. I'm just a little part of it. He invited me on. I asked him if I could be part of it, and now I am. So if you don't subscribe already, give this video a watch. Any comments you want to leave at the bottom, what you want to see on the rebrand and what you want to see on the original channel, which is now, comment at the bottom of the video, give the subscriber button a like, and let us get us to that 5,000. Thanks very much for watching, everyone, and I will be back soon.